Welcome back to my channel. This week, we want to look at a question from the question paper of November 2024. And we're going to look at question 3 of that question paper. That is on introduction to organizational communication. So it's from a question from section C. So our question 3 reads, study the following organogram and answer the questions that follow. So we're given an organogram of the computer shop, which you need to go through. Then the first part of the question 3.1 reads, John would like to submit another CV for a job opening at the software help desk. Whom does he submit it to, and which channel of communication would he be using? So, if you look at our organogram, they're going to say that John is an assistant here, assistant John at this point, and then John has to submit to the help desk. Software help desk is here. See that this is the software manager, so we've got the help desk here. So the question is asking us to who does he submit it? So obviously we know that all CVs should be directed to the human resources manager. They should be directed to the human resources manager. And then they are saying which channel of communication would he be using? So you'd see that John is crossing departments. Remember, John is under the hardware. If you look at the structure of this organogram, but he is going to the software department, obviously. But you see that John is now crossing, so it means it's going to be diagonal as he's moving from one department to the other, but he is going to higher level authority. So obviously it becomes a diagonal upward communication. So this is what we have as our response is to direct it to the human resources manager. And it's diagonal upward communication. So diagonal upward communication basically it involves a direct dialogue between employees of different ranks who are not in the same chain of command to share information that cut across at different levels and departments. So this is just a scenario that we are having according to this question. So we go to the next question. The general manager has a meeting with the software manager regarding the opening in her department. Which channel of communication would he be using? General manager is here. Let's just try to scroll down as we are having the general manager here. And he has a meeting with software manager. Software manager is here. So you see that software manager it reports directly to the general manager, but the information is coming from the general manager to the software manager. So you'd see that this is a vertical but going down. So vertical but downward. So we are saying we are having a scenario of vertical downward communication. And vertical downward communication basically is known as top-down communication. It involves information flowing from higher level managers to lower level employees within an organizational hierarchy. So obviously it has to follow the hierarchy. So this is what we have in terms of vertical downward communication. So we move on to the next question, which is going to be on 3.3. This is an example of a functional organization. Why? Functional organization, we are saying the organogram that you're given is being said is a functional organization. But they're asking why are we saying it's a functional organization? So we have to go back to the description of a functional organization. Remember, a functional organization, employees are grouped by their job functions or specialties. For example, we are going to have marketing function, a finance function, production function, also and many others, with a clear hierarchy, which obviously each department has its own manager. So that's what we have. So at the end of the day, the company is divided into separate departments or units. So you see that here we are seeing we have different departments that we have. We have got hardware, software, and human resources. So that's exactly how we can explain that. So to justify the existence of a functional organization in terms of organogram, we have a brief explanation that we have that all the activities are divided into specific functions or departments. Each department relies on expert knowledge, and experts is appointed as manager of each department. As we are seeing that we are having a manager in each department. So basically that's what we have. So we have the next question, 3.4. list three advantages and three disadvantages of this type of organization in table format. So we're saying we're looking at advantages and disadvantages of functional organization. So we are saying the advantages is that there is greater efficiency, also efficiency in terms of we we don't have to waste time in terms of relaying of information, whereby we are only having one channel of communicating, which is going to reach everyone in the organization. But if you have got different functions, obviously, in terms of maybe time is going to be not going to be wasted in each and every process. So we have there's greater efficiency as one of the advantages. It maximizes production and increases profits as all staff has a clear idea of their responsibilities. There is clear division of tasks and functions, which is also an advantage. So on disadvantages, we are saying conflict can arise if staff do not agree. Remember, we are having many functions, so the possibility that we can have disagreements is obviously going to be high. For example, we are having the hardware manager and the software manager. So the hardware manager can easily overlap and get into the lane of the software manager. So if that happens, we are going to see disagreements emanating from that, which is going to be a disadvantage. And then second one, maintaining specialized senior staff can be costly to the company. So in that sense, we are saying we are going to have a specialized staff under the hardware, software, and human resources. So all those obviously they are specialists in their own way. So they have to be highly paid. So that becomes a disadvantage. And the last one, because of multiple lines of authority, it is difficult to place responsibility fair. So that becomes the last disadvantage that we have. Then we move on to the next part of our question, which is now going to be 3.5. Identify the form of communication in each of the following scenarios. We have 3.5.1, John answers his phone while dealing with a customer, but the fact is that John is answering his phone. So this is oral communication. And then John is not engaging in face-to-face as he is obviously talking over the phone. So we are saying this is indirect oral communication. We have indirect oral communication. And then 3.5.2, the names of the staff members are selected to play for the company's 10-pin bowling team are placed on the notice board. So we say that we are placing names and the communication is being done directly to the people with the names that are there. So we are saying there is direct communication that is obviously in the form of written. So we are saying direct written communication. We're going to see that direct written communication also is characterized by clarity, straight forward. There is obviously information needs to be straightforward and needs to lack ambiguity, aiming to convey the intended message directly and obviously efficiently. So that's what we have in terms of direct written communication. So those are the responses that we have in terms of 3.5.1, 3.5.2. As we are saying, we have got indirect communication on the first part and then indirect written communication on the second part. Then we'll move on to the last part, 3.6. How will you formally address the following individuals? We have got a religious minister. How do you address that one? Obviously, this is going to be, obviously, we can call that a reverend, a religious minister, a reverend. And then if you look at the government minister, obviously, is simply called a minister. So we have also those responses in the other section, whereby we can call that one a reverend or a pastor, and then you've got a minister. Those are the questions that we have according to this video.